Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talking Trash Panda. I'm your host, Trash Panda. Welcome back to the dumpster. And today we are going to discuss my reaction to the NBA Finals, the NBA semifinals in the East and the West. So the first thing I want to talk about is the reoccurring theme of the night, which is BTA, belts to asses. Fuck me, dude. Let's uh let's run down what happened last night. So last night, Detroit took on Cleveland. The Cavs looking to defend at their home in Cleveland. The series, Cleveland was up 3-2. They chance to close it out. Keep in mind, Cleveland is undefeated in the playoffs at home. And I, as a lot of people did, figured this series was over. I could not have been more wrong. This series is headed to 7 as Detroit dismantles Cleveland. It was ugly. In the early goings, it was close, and then Detroit pulled away as Cade Cunningham shines again. Let's go through some of these stats so you can understand what I mean by it was ugly. If you look at the game leaders for this game, Harden had 23. He was 8 for 10 from the free throw and 6 for 13. Jared Allen had 1 defensive rebound, 7 offensive rebounds. That's a pretty good game. Harden had 8 turnovers, but 4 assists. Again, turnovers becoming an issue. But on the Detroit side of things, Cade Cunningham was 7 for 19. Not a great game, but he was 2 for 2 from the free throw. Jalen Duren had 7 defensive rebounds, which is a big stat, and 4 offensive rebounds. Cade Cunningham had 7 turnovers and 8 assists. He played for 42 minutes. Now, here's where it gets ugly. If you look into this, let's talk about Cleveland from the field. Donovan Mitchell was 6 for 20 with 18 points. That can't happen. He was 2 for 6 from 3, and he was perfect from the line. 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. He cannot shoot 6 for 20 in a team that's already inconsistent from shooting with James Harden. If you're going to win this series, which it's looking like Detroit might now, I'm going to be honest, I don't think it matters. Either of these teams are not going to beat the Knicks. But Donovan Mitchell cannot shoot 6 for 20. He played for 37 minutes, only had 18 points. Compare that with Harden's stats. Harden was 3 for 8 from 3. Just trying to let it fly, trying to break out of this slump. He had 7 rebounds, but again, 8 turnovers is a killer. Evan Mobley played for 36 minutes, had 18 points. He was 6 for 14 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. Cleveland struggling from the 3 this week. Max Strus had an awful game. He was 2 for 9 from the field and 2 for 7 from 3. Only had 6 points on the day. That is not winning basketball for Cleveland. And in the team that looked dominant at home, it's worrying. Because then you look at the Detroit Pistons. Dennis Jenkins had 15. He was 5 for 11, 3 for 7 from 3. Cade Cunningham, 21 points, 7 for 19, 5 for 10 from 3. So both teams struggling with shooting in this game, but off the bench with Paul Reed and Duncan Robinson, Duncan being 4 for 7 from 3, and Paul Reed being 1 for 1 and 7 for 9 from the field. So the bench for Pistons showed up and showed out tonight, and along with Cade Cunningham, it was a great game by them as they forced Game 7 back in Detroit. But here's the kicker for me and how I look at this, the stat-wise. Detroit shot 52% from the field. They were 44% from 3, which isn't terrible, and they were 68% from the free throw, and they had 18 turnovers, 43 rebounds, and they led the game 80% of the time and had a 22-point lead. That is their largest lead. That's great. That's a great game for Detroit. Even if you struggle from the field, being able to do what they did in this game and dominate like they did, belts to ass. Again, I don't think it matters. I think New York's going to sweep them. whoever comes out of this series. But you look at Cleveland stats. Yikes. 39% from the field, 34% from three, 73% from free throw. That's about the only good thing about these stats. 20 turnovers. And I know Detroit had 18, but 20 turnovers. Yikes. They had a rough game, and if they want to win this series, they have to play perfect basketball in Detroit. And they just came off a win to Detroit, but can they do it again? I'm not sure. If they come out looking like this, there's no shot. It's not going to happen. Detroit dominant in their win, breaking the Cavs' unbeaten record at home in the playoffs. We go on to the Western Conference semifinals. In a theme, again, BTA, belts to asses. The Spurs move on as they win the series in Minnesota 4-2 with a score of 139-109. Jesus. And it wasn't even Wemby who won this game for them. Let's talk about the game leaders for this game. Stephon Castle. What a guy, stepping up. He was 11 for 16 from the field, 5 for 6 from the line. He had 32 points. What a kid. He had 11 rebounds, 8 defensive, 3 offensive, and De'Aaron Fox had 9 assists with 1 turnover. That's winning basketball. On the other side of things, Anthony Edwards had 24 points. He was 9 for 26 from the field. Not a great night for Anthony Edwards. He was 4 for 7 from the free throw. Naz Reid had 7 rebounds, 6 defensive, 1 offensive, and Dosunmu had 0 turnovers and 9 assists. Let's look at this box score for a minute. Let's start with the winners, the Spurs. Julian Champagne had 18 points. He was 5 for 10, 4 for 9 from the field, perfect from the line. Good game for him. Victor Wembanyama, 6 for 11 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3. They'll have to clean that up in the next series against OKC. And 7 for 9 from the free throw line. De'Aaron Fox had 21. He was 8 for 10, 3 for 3 from 3, and perfect from the line. That is a great game for De'Aaron Fox, and if that is a trend going forward, Oklahoma City might be in trouble. Devin Vassell had 11 points. He was 4 for 10, 3 for 7 from 3-point. Not a great game for him, but I think he'll pick it up in the next series. But here's the big one. Stephon Castle, 32 points, 11 for 16, 5 for 7 from 3, 5 for 6 from the free throw, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 turnovers. Man, what a game for this kid. He was on fire last night. He couldn't fucking miss. Off the bench, their bench didn't do much. It was a lot of the starters who carried the weight, minus Dylan Harper, who had 15. They shot 56% from the field, 47% from 3, and 85% from the line. That is a great game for San Antonio and a dominant win for them, but here are the stats for Minnesota. And this is why Minnesota lost. You look at the box score for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and there is only 3 players on the starting lineup with over double-digit points. We'll start with Julius Randle. He had 3 points. He was 1 for 8, 0 for 2 from 3-point, 1 for 2 from the line, 7 rebounds. Not a good game for Julius Randle. He has been struggling in the playoffs this year, and I could see him getting shipped off if this continues. Next up, Jaden McDaniels had 13 points, 4 for 13, 2 for 4. Again, not a great night shooting. And that's been the theme of this is, and I'll get to their field goal percentage at the end. Ayo Dosunmu had 10 points. He was 4 for 8, 50% in the field. Perfect from the line. 1 rebound. Rudy Gobert. Hot garbage. 0 points. 0 for 4. 3 rebounds. Hot garbage. Hot fucking garbage. What an awful game for Rudy Gobert. Then you had the guy that led the team with the most minutes and the most points with Anthony Edwards with 24. He was 9 for 26, 2 for 7 from 3. Yikes. 4 for 7 from the line, which is not characteristic of Anthony Edwards. And 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, 3 steals. He needed 4 fouls. Rough starters for that is why Minnesota lost. They couldn't get anything going. Off the bench, though, Terrence Shannon Jr. with 21, Naz Reid with 18. Terrence was 8 for 15. Naz Reid was 7 for 13. 3 for 7 from the 3 for Naz Reid and 1 for 3 from Terrence Shannon. Overall, not a good game for Minnesota. In a game where you had to play perfect, they did not, and it really showed in the team stats for this. San Antonio shot 56% from the field. They were 49 for 88. Great game shooting for them, especially with Stephon Castle, who was dominating. They were 85% from the line. They were 47% from the 3, which is a good stat for a team. It's not high, but it's not also low. And also, they led the game 98% of the time, and they had a 37-point lead at one point. They had 16 turnovers, which is not good, but they had 60 rebounds, which is huge. And when we get to Minnesota's stats, I'll get into why that's huge. Minnesota shot 38% from the field. You can't do that in the playoffs. You cannot shoot that low. I mean, that we talked about it literally just a few minutes ago with the Cavs. You cannot shoot that low. They shot 35% from the 3, 81% from the line. They had 5 turnovers, which isn't terrible. But here's the kicker. San Antonio out-rebounded Minnesota 60-29. That can't happen. If you're trying to win games, you have to get rebounds. And you can't be missing shots like this. I mean, they looked like shit tonight. It sent a message to OKC. And the Spurs didn't even use Wembanyama to win. All those criticisms of, oh, well, if they shut down Wembanyama, they got nothing. Fucking Stephon Castle had 32 points tonight. De'Aaron Fox had 21. Wemby had the 3rd most points tonight. That showcases that if their front court can play, or their back court, can play the right way, they're not going to lose. And in a series of 7, I don't see them losing. So let's get over to who I think is going to be in the finals this year, and how I think the next 2 series are going to go. Because obviously now, the only thing we're waiting on is Detroit and Cleveland, but I don't think it really matters. So we'll start with the Western Conference Finals then. Western Conference Finals will be the San Antonio Spurs versus the defending champions, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think this series goes to 7, and I think the Spurs win. Tonight showcased to me that you shut down Wemby, it does not matter. They have other weapons. That was my one worry with San Antonio, and I do not see them being able to cover all of them. Sure, Shea is great, and they've had a dominant showing in their series before, but on a team without Luka Doncic for the Lakers, it was not a full-strength Lakers. I think San Antonio wins in 7. The Knicks versus who I would think wins the Cleveland series, Detroit. I think New York matches up better against Detroit, which is why I think the Knicks win in 5. It'll be a gentleman's sweep. I think the Pistons give them trouble early in game 1, but then they just turn it on like they have the entire series. Ever since that Hawks game, this has been a different Knicks team. So in the finals, it will be the Knicks versus the Spurs. It'll be the first time I've seen the Knicks in the finals in a long time, along with the Spurs. And it's going to be a bloodbath. I'm excited for that, if that turns out to be. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed my reaction to the NBA semifinals, let me know. I'm going to probably do more of this. I'll probably cover the NHL playoffs after tonight's game with Montreal and Buffalo for tomorrow. And then on Tuesday's Monday Night Raw review, and then NXT on Thursday. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments below. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you find yourself coming back, why not subscribe? Doesn't hurt you at all. The only thing it does is helps me. So, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for stopping by at the dumpster, and I'll see you tomorrow.